Elaine called after her. "We are friends!" "Be quiet," Nynaeve hissed. She produced a handful of rags from her pocket and ruthlessly stuffed them into the gaping mouth of the still staggering Suldam. Min hastily shook out the sack in a cloud of dust and plunged it over the Suldam's head, shrouding the woman to the waist. "We are already attracting too much attention." It was true, and yet not entirely true. The four of them stood in a rapidly emptying street, but the people who had decided to be elsewhere were avoiding looking at them. Nynaeve had been counting on that, people doing their best to ignore anything that had to do with Shan Chen, to gain them a few moments. They would talk eventually, but in whispers. It might take hours for the Shan Chen to learn anything had happened. The hooded woman began to struggle, making rag-muffled shouts from the sack, but Nynaeve and Min threw their arms around her and wrestled her toward a nearby alley. The leash and collar trailed across the cobblestones behind them, clinking. "Pick it up," Nynaeve snapped at Elaine. "It won't bite you." Elaine took a deep breath, then gathered the silver metal gingerly, as if she feared it very well might. Nynaeve felt some sympathy, but not much. Everything rested on each of them doing as they had planned. The Suldam kicked and tried to throw herself free, but between them, Nynaeve and Min forced her along, down the alley into another slightly wider passage behind houses, to yet another alley, and at last into a rough wooden shed that had apparently once housed 2 horses, by the stalls. Few could afford to keep horses since the Shan Chen came, and in a day of Nynaeve's watching, no one had gone near it. The interior had a musty dustiness that spoke of abandonment. As soon as they were inside, Elaine dropped the silver leash and wiped her hands on some straw. Nynaeve channeled another trickle and the bracelet fell to the dirt floor. The Suldam squalled and hurled herself about. "Ready?" Nynaeve asked. The other 2 nodded, and they yanked the sacking off their prisoner. The Suldam wheezed, blue eyes teary from dust, but her red face was red as much from anger as from the sack. She darted for the door, but they caught her in the first step. She was not weak, yet they were 3, and when they were done, the Suldam was stripped to her shift and lying in one of the stalls, bound hand and foot with stout cord, with another piece of cord to keep